Hi guys, I'm at San Diego Comic-Con 2024. I'm sitting here with Brian Volk-Weiss. You are a producer and CEO of the Nacelle universe, right?
That is accurate. That is an accurate
I'm trying to make sure I've been following your work for a while. Of course,
very kind.
We know about your Netflix series, The Toys That Made Us, the movies that made us, everything that made us in the 80s. But you have now gotten into the realm of action figures and bringing back some licenses that maybe need a little bit more love and a resurgence in this time.
Yeah.
So first off, what was the motivation behind Toys That Made Us? I know we always, as collectors, we talk about that stuff all the time. Is that it? You said, you know what, I talk about this all the time, I'll make a show out of it.
You know, it's in retrospect a very bizarre story. I had been making and selling TV shows for about 15 years. Yep. And for 7 years, I was trying to sell what would become Toys That Made Us. So the problem for us was that we were a company that was very famous for comedy.
Right.
So I would come in and I knew all the executives, I knew all the buyers, and they would be like, why is the comedy guy pitching us a show about toys? So it was really, really hard to sell. Luckily for us, we had done a lot of business with Netflix so we have a comedy, stand-up comedy division called Comedy Dynamics.
Right.
And they had been doing tons of business with Netflix. So when they got into doing Netflix originals, luckily the guy there knew I was a toy collector and we had already done a lot of business. So when he was like, hey man, you got any shows? I was like, yes. And that's how it got made. But it was just because it was my hobby. It was like my favorite hobby.
Well, it's kind of, I mean, you've been in the field for a while. You work with a lot of comedians, they were just like, hey, trust my judgment here. Let me do this, guys, you know?
Well, they knew we were all about quality with our stand-up comedy. Right. So they were like, well, if this guy loves toys and we know he loves quality, they trusted us. And it worked. Yeah, here we are, almost 8 years later.
Does that victory lap feel good?
I don't know if I would call it a victory lap.
It was a long victory. It got there.
You know who put it best? I don't know if you saw my post yesterday, but like of all the songs I could have picked to announce seasons 4 and 5, I picked LL Cool J's "Mama Said Knock You Out" because I love that lyric, and it's the opening lyric.
Don't call it a comeback.
We've been here for years.
Yeah.
Yes. So that's how it feels.
Well, I'm happy. Of course, I enjoyed the product, but let's get into talk about toys. So, Nacelle Universe, you have gotten into RoboForce, Sectars, Biker Mice from Mars, The Great Galoo, which I did not see that one come. Cowboys of Moo Mesa.
Yeah.
Were these licenses just laying around and you were like, oh, I'll take that?
I can assure you, if there's anything I can assure you on, they were not laying around.
Oh, so you had to fight.
Well, it's not really like fight, and I know you're joking, but like it's more of like we're dealing with a lot of the creators. In fact, to the best of my knowledge, only RoboForce and Garloo, we were not dealing with the creators.
Really?
Yeah. So we really, really needed to convince. These are like babies. No. Toys That Made Us is my baby. Like I have 3 kids. My 4th kid is Toys That Made Us. So like I know what it's like. My company is my baby. So like, if I ever needed like a Diet Coke, sorry.
No, you're good.
It's a joke. But like, it was like this thing where it was like, you have to convince these people like, hey, you invented this a long time ago. It came out a long time ago. There's still some fans, but you're in your 70s. You're in your 80s. We have resources because of our stand-up comedy business and our documentary business. So we have financial resources to not only take it, but do it. So one of the things we usually put in our contracts, like as one example, we commit to a toy line being out within a year. No one puts that in writing. We put it in writing because we wouldn't be doing the deal if we weren't going to put the whole thing into production in the first place. So that's how we can talk to these people and say, listen, I know it's your baby, but it's your baby kind of living 20 years ago, 30 years ago, 50 years ago. Let us help bring it back.
I absolutely love this, especially as someone that enjoyed those properties when they were first created. So you're going right to the people and saying, trust me on this.
Yeah.
That is amazing.
And the emails we get, it's really interesting because the emails we get from the creators are usually something like, I know we signed a contract, I know you sent us a check, but I know how this business works. The fact that you're actually not only doing what you said you would do, but you're doing even more than you said you would do. Like you can ask Unger, who created Biker Mice from Mars, it's everywhere. Like it's every time I see Unger, I don't know if you know Rick Unger. He's
familiar
drinking
with
a Diet Coke.
What?
He loves Diet Cokes.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and I love Diet Cokes. So it's one of these things where, you know, you're like in a situation where you're saying to these people, you're trying to find things to bond over. And for me, at least, that was one of the things that allowed us to bond. And you have to earn their trust. It's their baby.
I gotta admit that first off, that's just awesome to hear. I just personally, but I love that the fact that I saw RoboForce on a shelf, able to be bought again.
Yeah.
Here I am at, you know, older. I won't say how, but it was awesome to see this product is back, and now we've got Biker Mice from Mars and Hot Topic now.
Well, if I can, you said you're from Dallas?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm from New York.
Okay.
I'm sure Texas had this too. We had this guy growing up in New York. His name was Crazy Eddie's. And Crazy Eddie's had these cheesy TV stores, like electronic stores. And he would do these crazy.
Yeah.
You know Crazy Eddie?
No, I'm familiar with the work.
Yeah. But like,
on YouTube.
I guarantee you, Texas has their own version of Crazy Eddie.
That's probably me. But anyway.
So if I can go into my Crazy Eddie mode for a second.
Go for it.
Not only is so we just did a big deal with Walmart, and
Yes.
RoboForce is not only going to be in Walmart. This is one of the beautiful things about Walmart. So we retailed initially for $50 a figure, which I hated, and we, believe it or not, we barely made money even at $50 a figure. Now they're $34.99. So we're able to offer the same quality at a much better price. And that's A, because the molds are obviously already paid for, but B, it's Walmart. So the volume at which they're buying allows us to get the price down drastically.
Nice. I got to admit, having one in hand, felt the quality, loved it.
Thank you, man.
But I think one of the best things was I saw a kid with both of them in his hands walking out of a store, and I was just like, it begins again. Because it's not just for us.
Yeah.
I have 2 kids of my own. I want them to play. I want them to have toys. I want them to be children and enjoy that.
Yeah.
So for kids to see that, and with this thing that I like, my children love Transformers, and it's of course something I grew up with. But these are different. I want them to see these, the cartoons, the toys, where we woke up on Saturday morning, we ate cereal, we had the toys right there, and we watched the cartoon.
Exactly. And I have 3 kids, so I win. You only have 2.
Okay, you got me.
I'm very competitive.
That's cool.
But no, my kids are like we give them prototypes. Like my kids will be sitting there beating up prototypes and like going crazy. So like we absolutely I use my kids to test stuff and tell them, like, I knew Biker Mice would
That's
work.
a good gauge of how
Yeah.
how well is it constructed.
I have a 6-year-old. When we started doing Biker Mice, he had just turned 5. He loves Biker Mice. Detonator, who's one of the Wave 2 RoboForce coming, my 6-year-old asks me like once a week, where Detonator? Where Detonator? Where Detonator? So yeah, that's who we make this stuff for.
So right now, I mean, with everything that you've got going, I know you're the kind of guy you want to do more.
Sure.
So what's next?
I cannot tell you what's
Yes,
next.
you can.
I can't.
Yes, you can.
I'd like to, believe me. By the way, we have some what's next coming up. In the
I'm
next...
sorry. Just turn the camera off for a second. Go right ahead. We're good.
Is it off?
It's off now.
I fell for that once. But let me tell you why I can't talk about it. It's because, like, the minute it gets out now that like we're after it, it's like then it's like, oh, price goes up.
No.
So that's a part of it. But also, these are very delicate negotiations. So like, you don't want stuff coming out until the paper's signed.
Admittedly, it was quite the surprise when I saw what you guys were doing, and I went, I'm like the meme of Leonardo DiCaprio. Oh, that's the thing that I had. and I want it again.
So I thought I was in Titanic right now. That was impressive.
Nah, not yet. Anyway, Brian, thanks for talking with
Thank
us
you,
and going
man.
into detail about everything Nacelle
Yeah.
and the toys that made us. Loving everything you're doing.
Look who's, we're getting interrupted.
My boy.
Oh, we got Throttle. What's Throttle doing here? What's up, man?
We dressed alike today, you know.
Don't worry,
We
he's
both
got
want
two cooling fans.
Good. He needs it. It looks great. Guys, Throttle, Brian, get you some Nacelle stuff and give them to your kids, because kids need to remain kids and have toys.
That's right. Kids need to remain kids. Hope I'm looking
Brian,
at the right camera.
it's one of them. Brian, thanks, man.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
it.
This was fun.
This was fun.
Appreciate it.